What's up, everyone? Envy here. What up, YouTube? So as you can see, I am not on the FC9. I am on my friend's new Ninja 300. He just got it like 2 days ago, and while I have it at my place for a small amount of time till he can pick it up and actually ride it himself, because he's a beginner rider, I'm keeping it at my place, and I thought, why not take it out, obviously with his permission, or not, and do a little review of it. I'm not really I'm not really interested in doing tons of reviews of different bikes, because I feel like there's plenty of reviews out there already for various bikes, and there's plenty of motovloggers that do reviews, and they go to dealerships and they get test rides and all that good stuff, and I'm just not interested in that. Well, I am, but I just don't want to devote that much time. I don't have that time to devote to it. So, but since it's convenient, I've got a Ninja 300, and why not just go ahead and give it a shot and do a review. Fuck, I just got hit in the throat with a rock. Yeah, anyways, so I've been riding this. I rode it from the dealership to my place, again, because my friend's a new rider. He didn't feel comfortable. He also didn't have his license, and I got a small feel for it. I actually did a review on the way from the dealership to my house. It sucked, absolutely sucked. I hated every part of it, so I just decided to redo the review, and this is it. So the Ninja 300 is a step up from the 250. I think that's pretty well known. I'm not going to go over all the specifics and stuff, horsepower, all that. 35 horsepower. No, I'm not going to go over all that stuff. You guys can look it up. I'm assuming you guys would tune into this just to get an impression and just to get some new ideas on it. I'm gonna try and keep this short. I mean, overall, this bike is an absolute great beginner bike. I know everybody says that. A lot of people say that. It really is. I rode a 250 for a few days, and at the time I thought it was, a very powerful bike and all that, but after, eventually upgrading to a 500, then going to an FC9, the 250 is just completely underpowered. This bike, on the other hand, I mean, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, it's really powerful bike or anything, but it definitely has some pep to it. It's got some pep to its step. Pep to the step. It's got some grunt behind it, you know what I'm saying? You just you get in the right rev range, and it'll definitely go. Like when you start out at right around 1 to, I'd say, like 7 grand, 8 grand, you're not feeling much. You're moving. Don't get me wrong, you're moving, but you're not moving as fast as you might imagine. Then you hit that power band. I think they say that it actually like really steps in around 10. I feel it, really starts transitioning from, okay, we got some power, to, wow, we have, it's really like you feel that tug from the bike just pulling you, forward. That hits right around 9, I think, or at least that's what I've noticed. So power-wise, there's no comparison to a 250. There's just none. This is just the superior bike. Other things, let's see. It has handlebars higher up, which is going to be the case for pretty much every 250, just because it's a great rider stance to be in, a little bit more upright, less uncomfortable. It's not as upright, of course, as, like, for example, my FC9. That bike's extremely upright. It's also a naked, or a Street Fighter style. This is definitely styled after a pure sports bike, with the handlebars obviously higher up. Let's see, it's really got really nice flickability, as some people call it. You can really just throw it around with just your torso, which is, I think, a huge plus, especially, well, I mean, just in general, if you want a sports bike and you get a bike like this that's got, you know, that's got that ability, that's light enough, that's nimble enough to do that, it makes it a lot more fun to have. I mean, gas mileage, you know, I could go over that. Sure, okay, it's great gas mileage. I just filled it up. Well, I filled it up with a little bit of gas left in it for like $8 and maybe 50 cents, something like that. So, I mean, we drove from the dealership, which was like 40 miles away, something like that. And then I rode it around a little bit, and my friend rode it around some, just in a controlled environment, of course, because he doesn't have his license yet. So it's controlled environment, not on public roads. Don't worry. Wink, wink. Yeah, so the gas mileage is great. It's maybe not quite as high as like a CBR 250 or anything like that, but it's good. You know, it's great. You're not going to have any issues with it. As far as like cornering and stuff, this bike is just like cream of the crop when it comes to like anything compared to like a 250, anything, CBR 250, Ninja 250. You're talking, this bike is just going to blow them out of the water. Yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun to just whip it around those corners. Again, again, because it's got that nimbleness that you won't really find on certain bikes. But they do a fantastic job. It comes with a slipper clutch. Honestly, in certain respects, I don't like that very much. I think it can be kind of abrupt. It's, well, more so that you engage it and then you have to like wait half a second for it to actually like go. And I guess for a beginner that's all right. Actually, I think for a beginner it's extremely useful. But it's got its downsides and its upsides, because from the downside perspective, okay, you should probably be learning how to use just a regular clutch and just, you know, getting that finesse of the friction zone. With this, you could literally just, I don't know, just let go, and without any sort of, you know, finesse, and it'll be fine. Which, again, for a beginner, for the positives, that's great, because you won't get thrown around a lot. You won't have any abrupt, you know, jerkiness coming from the bike. So yeah, slipper clutch is really just up to personal preference. If you really don't feel comfortable with the whole clutch shifting and all that, then slipper clutch might be a good choice for you until you feel ready. I guess on a side note, one thing to also mention is the mirrors. The mirrors are just, they're awesome. I can actually see behind me. On my FZ9, no matter how much I adjusted, and even on my Ninja 500 when I had it, it didn't matter. The mirrors just, I had to like pull my elbows in just so I could see past my shoulders. That's a definite plus. I mean, you know, it's small, but it does make a difference, you know, as far as like rider safety. Again, kind of like a 250, the throttle isn't extremely responsive, you know. It's without a doubt more responsive than like a 250 would be, but it's definitely not anywhere near a 600. 600, you just barely, like, you know, move it a millimeter and you can already feel the tug, you know, pulling you forward, which can definitely make it an issue for a beginner, you know, when you pull on it and then you get thrown off the back. This is not going to do that. However, I will say, just because it has, you know, a little bit less responsive throttle does not mean that it's any less of a bike. Actually, in certain respects, I like this better. Oh, gravel. Go over straight and slow when you see gravel. Newbies, myself included. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the throttle response. That does not make the bike any less than other bikes. It's definitely superior than a 250. I've said that a few times now, but it's got some grunt. Like, okay, you pull back and you're not going very far or very fast, but then, you know, eventually once it hits that RPM range, it'll give you what you want. You know, it'll give you some speed. You're gonna hit that wall of power, the wall of power. Ooh, like the wall of power, and then you just blast forward. Super Saiyan. Okay, anyways. Yes, the power delivery's fine, you know, again, you know, just reiterating, kind of shallow in the low, mid. Yeah, mid is still pretty shallow. Once you hit that high, you know, typical sports bike feel, it'll give you that, you know, sudden power input. So once you really open it up, it's there. I guess my final note that I wanted to point out is, okay, on a bigger bike, what you're going to feel is, from the beginning, it's just going to always be rocketing you everywhere, which means that sometimes you feel like your face is just going to get melt off, it's just going to get ripped off, because you're like, point me, right away, every time, just there, you know, it's like very direct, to the point, always gets you there really quickly. This, on the other hand, has something about it that's a little, in a way, it's like calmly addicting, because it doesn't have that low end power, so you're almost like, wow, I kind of want to see what's up on the other, you know, the higher end. And because you have to shift more, because it's a lower cc bike, and, you know, it doesn't have that much torque, you do have to shift more. That you know, in certain ways, yeah, again, that can be a negative, but in other ways, I think for a beginner, or really for anybody looking for a small bike just to have a ton of fun on, this is perfect. You just, instead of the bike scaring you to a point where, wow, this thing is ripping my face off because it's so fast, this is like, I'm begging you, just push me as hard as you can. Just do it as hard as you can. That's what she said. Now everything from here on out is going to be like a sexual joke. Great. Get on your lane, motherfucker. Yeah, so you just feel like it's not giving you everything you might want in the lower rev ranges. Let me turn around here. It's not giving you everything you might want in the lower rev ranges, but that's what makes it addicting. You really just, then you kind of like curious, you know. You're like, ooh, I wonder what it would be like if I like really push it just a little bit further. Just actually, fuck it, not a little bit further. I'm just gonna push it max power, and then you hit that one, you know, that wall, and suddenly you're definitely flying faster than you were in the first 7, 8, 9,000 rev ranges. So it's got, you know, you just really just want to push it. You're just like, you want to feel the engine turning and really working hard. You really want to push it into the ground. I think that's something that I think that has an addictive quality to it. Just like a bigger bike will, you know, have that speed aspect from several different rev ranges and just get you there a lot quicker. But this bike's going to be a lot of fun. Would I recommend this bike for a beginner? Absolutely. It's comfortable. Probably not the most comfortable 250 or 300 range bike, but it's definitely comfortable. I might even say that I would take this over my Ninja 500. Granted, you know, when I had my Ninja 500, I was a complete noob, but I don't know. I have to say, I think I like this better. It was an 09 Ninja 500R. This is a Ninja 300, and although it's got less power, it just feels like more fun to ride. All right, well that does it. Oh well, I guess I'll quick say the brakes, back brake, I'm not too fond of it. Front brake is good, but the back brake is I don't know if it just needs adjustment or something, but it doesn't exactly blow me away. Twisting 7, 8, 9. Oh, there it is! Woohoo! Oh yeah, motherfuckers! There it is. All right, that's it. I'm leaving on that note. Woo, man, my friend's gonna have a lot of fun on this bike. I can't wait to go riding with him. All right, I will catch you guys in the next Motovlog. Peace. And you turn the actual ignition on with that button.